Hi everybody, and welcome back to Let's Play Persona 4 Golden. And in the last part we basically discovered who the murderer was, and we were trying to go after him. But the problem is that because Teddie isn't here, we can't actually find out where the murderer is, where Adachi is.
That bear's a loudmouth. He's nice to have around.
So yeah, we need Teddie back at this moment in time. But the rest of the guys do not know where he is at this point, which is kind of annoying.
I'm alright. I just got a little dizzy. The fog's so dense. It's hard to see through it.
Why don't we call it
so dense, that
it
fog.
Won't do us any good if you collapse.
I agree. If Rise-san became fatigued, even if we found Adachi, our capacity in battle would be reduced.
Yeah.
Moreover,
So yeah, that's a good idea, I
we should return to our
suppose.
world for the present.
Let's quit for now. Let's go off and do something else. Why did I leave that in? I don't know. Didn't really need to leave that in. Oh well. These were the days when I was just starting out and not doing much editing. Or rather, my editing skills weren't as good.
What's wrong
Not that they're
with
much
me?
better now, to be honest,
My
but
powers
whatever.
are completely useless. Teddie?
And he's back. He's hiding behind a little sign there. What are you hiding?
You idiot! Bad bear! Bad! You're so late! Who do you think you are?
Oh dear God.
Rise-chan?
I love the
No, stupid!
I love the tears there, the little animation. The crying is pretty... I don't know why it's pretty humorous to me.
Where the hell were you? I'm sorry. I figured out a lot of things.
Yeah, okay, Teddie,
Stuff about me.
you've apologized enough. Let's stop this now.
I wanted to tell you all.
So yeah, Teddie's finally come back at long last. So yeah, he finally tells everybody what he really is.
Shadow?
He's a
You mean
shadow.
you're one of those things we've been fighting?
Yup.
Well put.
Just like the ones you all know about. Shadows are suppressed human thoughts given form. Everyone has them inside.
Wait,
Yeah,
say you're a
and on the
shadow,
outside
but you
too,
didn't
to be
attack
fair.
us.
We all cast a
Told us
shadow.
from the start that you wanted to bring peace and quiet back to that world, right?
But in the end,
That's a good
I was
point.
just an ordinary shadow. Nothing special about me at all. I did everything I could until
but
now
that's
to try
really
to make my
the
world peaceful.
thing that they're going to point
But
out
instead,
next.
the weird fog started seeping
that
out into this world too.
If he's just a normal
I'm
shadow, then how
sorry.
come he was able to
I'm
create
really
a kind of
sorry.
human
If I
form?
really was
And
special,
kind of,
maybe.
how come he was
So big
able to
deal.
want,
I mean, we weren't expecting much
You
from
know,
you in the first place. And about you being a shadow, we pretty
and
much
like how
figured
was
you
he
were
able
something like
to,
that
you know,
anyway.
have the thoughts
Huh?
necessary to think that he
What are
wanted
you
to bring
saying?
peace back to his
Here I
kind
am
of
pouring my heart
world,
out
if
to
you know what I
and you
mean.
say you thought I was something
That he
like
didn't
that
want people,
anyways?
you know, being murdered
No normal
via
person would
use
think
of his
such a
world,
pretty bear
which
could
is
really be a shadow.
which makes him
So what's the
does
problem
make
being
him
a shadow?
special. It does make him a
True that
special
you may have
shadow, I
been
guess.
born that way, but you now possess
I
the
think it's
power of
probably just
persona.
once again
shadow is
another bit of
suppressed power.
symbolism,
Once
a
controlled by
bit of
the
a
ego,
message.
it
One,
becomes a
I
persona.
guess.
Doesn't it follow then that you must have developed an
Oops,
ego?
sorry.
Whether
That
the
message
ego
being that it's
masters
more
its
about.
shadow, or the shadow awakens to its ego. The only difference I see is the order in which
What am
the
I thinking?
process occurred.
That it's not about
Oh, Teddie's
where you were born or where you come from. It's more about.
I'm the same as
It's more about
Keep
like
trying to figure out who
the
you are,
choices
just like all
and
of us
decisions
here.
that you make throughout life,
You
rather
can't do
than
much on your own.
where you come
really
from,
aren't
which
that
make
special.
you who you are,
See?
basically.
What's so
I guess
different
that's the
between
kind
you
of
and
point
us?
that they're trying to make with this story arc that Teddie's been on. Damn it, I keep nudging my pop filter. Fucking hell.
I'm so glad I met you guys.
The rest of us were pretty much a group of misfits
I think
to begin
it's
with,
also...
too, right? You fit right in, man.
It's also probably a message about, you know...
I beg your pardon? Who are you calling a misfit?
Isn't that
I
just
love that
you,
from
Senpai?
Hey, that's not something a detective would say. Or an idol either.
I love this banter here. It's kind of cool.
Stop crying, will ya?
But you know, I think the other point that this is trying to make as well, I guess, is the fact that it's more about.
Adachi? That total goofball? Whoa! I didn't notice at all.
Yeah,
It's like
yes.
I'm pretty blind to that sort of
Teddie
thing.
pretty much says it perfectly there. But I was gonna say, fuck,
But
I
you all
keep
know
getting off my
him.
point.
If you can't
Teddy,
find someone like that,
it's also more of a
think I
thing
can
of
help you.
the people, you
Like I
know, the
said, we're not
relationships that
expecting
you
much from you.
make, like friendships in particular,
Well, the main thing is,
being very
it's hard to get
vital
talked about this without someone
into
nice and
how
buzzing around.
you
Yeah, what Kanji said.
into into the
Okay.
type of person that you become, basically.
All right. Now that the band's back together,
And it's,
let's take it
I
from
guess
the
you
top.
could also say it as a
Start
kind of being
tomorrow.
like, should be
It's been a
accepting of all
while,
people
but I'll do
as
my
well, I
best
guess.
to look for him too. Leave it to
I guess that's
Fuzzy.
another point that they're trying to make as well. Maybe I'm just reading too much into it. Silence phone. So yeah, we got to rank number 6 in the Seekers of the Truth. Our Judgment Arcana has grown. Okay, so now what's going to happen tomorrow is that we are going to go to Adachi, and we are going to finally confront Adachi. And I think this... No, sorry. I thought there would be another kind of time where you go into the Velvet Room for one last time, but I guess not. You only go in twice. And like I say, they're pretty much just to decipher whether you get the good ending, the bad ending, or the middling, kind of mediocre, neutral ending. So many adjectives.
I'll give it
So
a
now with the hope
try,
of
but
the help...
if
Sucked.
Risei-chan couldn't find
Now
him,
with the help of Teddie,
I
we
would
should be
doubt
able to
someone with a
find
dried-up
Adachi.
nose like me will be much help. I
think this is a bit of an ass pull. I will say this is a bit of an ass pull, considering that I think it was it's been said like throughout the last few... Sorry, it's like with the last few dungeons there's been this thing of Teddie not being able to use his nose as much.
Ooh, I'm getting something.
You know, that he's not, and then just here he's able to power up to Super Saiyan level 1, and
Teddie?
he's able to power up and he's able to use his
Quit
nose
wandering
again.
around. You better not flake out on us again.
And so, yeah, Teddie is actually able to find out,
This away.
is able to smell Adachi, and he's able to find out where he is.
How do I
So it's a bit of an ass pull.
It's kind of hazy, but at the same time, it feels like I've got a whopper.
So yeah, that is like, I think it's just, it was used as a necessity to bring somebody back. You know, it was just used as a necessity to bring back Teddie, I guess.
If I remember right,
But,
that's
oh
where
well.
Sensei, Yosuke, and Chie-chan came from when I met them for the first
See
time.
that? That's coming full
When
circle.
we first... Where was that?
That's what that is.
Oh, you mean that creepy-ass room where all the faces on the posters were cut out?
Yep, there's someone
Yes, right at the beginning of the game.
Teddie, you really are amazing.
there. It was just dumb luck. It's because that's where I first sensed Sensei and the others. That's why it kind of...
Try saying that fastly, quickly.
Oh, I
Sensed
see.
Sensei.
Wait, did you say it smelled? Wasn't that the room where Yosuke had to go to the bathroom and...
Huh? You're saying he peed his pants there?
Ew, I don't want to hear it.
Oh, you lie so bad! Dude, I did not piss my pants! Gee, quit spreading random rumors about stuff like that.
No, one thing I do like about this
It
game, even though it
happened so long ago,
it
my
tries to
memory's
tell a
kinda
really
fuzzy,
serious
you
story
know?
about murder and
Okay,
about people
guys,
being murdered, it,
enough
you know,
fuzziness.
it does
Follow
give
me,
off
the
this
master of
very
fuzzy
humorous
logic.
vibe as well, and does make you funny. Teddie, please stop.
I haven't heard you crack up in a while, Yukiko.
Please fucking stop with
Though
those
I
puns,
really
dude. They're
wonder
not funny.
sometimes about your sense of humor.
Sorry. Damn it. Yes, cheerful mood has returned. Yeah, they're really trying to push this Judgment Arcana through really fucking quickly. We're up to rank number 7. Now is the time to go on and finally find Adachi. And it looks the same.
Bitch. I noticed her first, and she just had to run off and have an affair.
And there he
Who's
is.
there? Oh, it's you guys.
One of the things I do really
Very
like is that the change in portrait that Adachi gets.
You're getting on my nerves, kid.
Sorry, I'm just concentrating on this. Sorry, fucking hell. But yeah, the one thing I like is that
It
they
was an
change
accident
Adachi's
she started
portrait
struggling.
after
What
you
else was I
find out that
supposed
he's
to
the
do?
killer, and he starts
I
and he
called
looks
her out
really
to the lobby
fucking
because I
sinister
wanted
and
to ask
pulling
her
all these
something.
really evil
And
and
then she
kind of
started getting hysterical on me.
aggressive looking what's the word? Aggressive looking thought, like
Who are you?
aggressive looking
And what's
mouth
this
shapes and that
something
kind of thing,
important you
which
call
I
me out here?
kind of like. It also feels a bit
What they say on the news isn't true, is it? All
what?
that talk about you having an affair
It
and
feels a bit
whatnot?
Miss Marple,
It's all a lie, right?
or you know, Poirot,
Why do I
or
have to explain
that kind of
myself to
thing,
you?
where it's kind of like
I see.
where
So
you know,
don't
in
deny
every
it.
single one of those, Poirot
My
kind of
lie. But it
says,
turns out you're
reveals who the
another
murderer is,
worthless
and
bitch.
gives like his reasons
wrong
as to
with
why
you?
he, his deductions
Don't
as to
make me
why
call for
this
help.
is the case. And then then the guy who's being who he accuses always turns around and goes, "Yes, it is me. I am the killer." And this feels very much like that, where it's kind of like, even though there's really no evidence to suggest that Adachi is the murderer, apart from circumstantial evidence, there's no physical evidence and stuff like that. He still, once they get to that point and saying, "You're the killer, aren't you?" he just goes, "Yes, it is me." Which I don't. Which is kind of, it's just a I guess a murder mystery novel story kind of cliche. So I don't really. It's not something that I have a problem with. It's just something which I've noticed upon, you know, going back to this thing multiple times.
I burst out laughing when I found out. I knew right away that this was going to be interesting.
So you tested it out on
And
my
it's this.
Yukiyama.
He kind of shows
Nah,
shows
it
off
was
how
nothing
fucked
like
up
that.
he
I'm
kind
a
of is in
very
this scene,
sincere fella.
in this little
I was just
section.
trying to punish the stupid
Which I
bitch
kinda
for
like.
betraying me.
Because most of the
Yeah,
time it's kind of
being
like,
inside the TV was never
at
the
least
plan.
in
But
games,
you know, both Mayumi and that dippy high school girl
TV
struggled for no
shows,
reason.
and even movies to a certain extent,
You were responsible for Saka's
they
death.
try to give
Saki?
the
Oh,
murderer
yeah.
kind of like
Her name
a.
was Saki Kunishi, or something like that. At first, I just called her in.
They try
because
to
of
give
work
it,
related
give them
stuff,
like a
her
kind of
being the one who
a
found
real
Mayumi's body and all.
motive for doing what they're doing.
Naturally, if there was any
Here he
chance
doesn't
she'd seen
really.
something.
He has
need
like a
to know,
very
right?
personal. He has a
So I
personal
was all
motive,
set to be a
obviously, because
nice guy
everybody
to her.
does.
And then that
But
bitch.
his motive is. It's not a very justifiable one, and it's more of a case of he's just completely and utterly fucking nuts, which is more the thing, which I think is probably a little bit scarier, and I think
we'll
is
get to
not
that.
done as much
But you
in
know, I saw you this afternoon.
in TV, in like media in particular. It's done a lot in books, but not so much in like
You were getting pretty
a
cozy
TV
with
show and
that
movies and
Namatai.
stuff.
So I'm not good enough for you. Well, I know how to deal with girls like you.
No!
Yeah, he really is
Besides, it feels
turned
like
into a complete and
this
utter
world's gone
bastard
straight
here.
to shit. When I was in school, I wasn't allowed to do anything but study my ass off. I was supposed to be the best. of the
Yeah,
best.
theirs is
Instead,
rather.
they stick me in the
His
bins.
motive is kind of.
I guess I got this sweet power to
It's
make up
believable,
for
but it's also kind of.
it. Life's
It's
not
a
so
very
bad
self-centered
after all.
one. It's kind of like.
bad, and maybe I'll let you out.
No, I won't, because you don't know how to, do you, you stupid bastard?
That'll happen. As if I'd walk into a death trap like that.
So yeah, he's pretty much the... At this point... So he's pretty much the... It's... This is the first time it's kind of... it's kind of said implicitly.
You son of a bitch.
But... Adachi was the one who directly killed the first two victims. Miss Yamano and the Saki Konishi.
The other way around. A council secretary will one day rise to public office himself. Mayumi and that high schooler were just gold digging. They got exactly what they deserved.
He's been a complete and utter asshole here. This is complete and utter self-centered evil here, which it's kind of weird. I kind of like Adachi after he did that.
Nah, he called the police in the middle of the night.
Sorry,
just
bloody
after
hell.
they found that Saki girl's body. The rest of the force had their hands full with
yeah, so here is pretty much the how he was able to manipulate the rest of these kidnappings from happening. So it was pretty much down to him that what am I talking about? It's pretty much down to him that Namatame continues kidnapping people, or starts to kidnap people. Which I think, having thought about it, one of the things I will say is that I think, why didn't Namatame say anything about this in his, when he's been interviewed by the rest of the gang? Why didn't he say anything about a police officer? Why didn't he mention this conversation? That's basically what I'm pointing out. And I know why, in the story reasons why, because this would pretty much give away everything. This would pretty much give away the whole... Because then you'd have to make the assumption that the murderer, or the person who's pulling the strings, has to be a cop, which would pretty much lead you to either Dojima or Adachi. So I guess for the sake of story, I guess it makes sense that they didn't add that little bit in. Sorry. But to me, it's a little bit of a nitpick, I guess. In fact, it's a complete total fucking nitpick. Yeah, but... dude, they should have done it a little bit better, I think. They should have at least hinted that he was told something. You know what I mean? Like, he got that idea from somebody else as opposed to just getting the idea on his own, I guess. Didn't have to say that it was from that exact incident. But it would have been a way of pointing out that Namatame was not the mastermind behind the whole thing.
You think the police are that stupid?
What a jerkwad!
You tell him, Teddie. You tell him.
I never thought you guys would manage to track me down. I like that.
Okay.
Games like this gotta have surprises or they get boring fast.
So yeah, that's the big thing with him.
That was fun too.
So yeah, and so yeah, this is pretty much another thing where he's pretty much admitted to everything here, which is kind of like why my analogy with, the old school murder mysteries like Poirot and Miss Marple make a lot of sense. But so yeah, he pretty much tells us here that he threw Mitsuo Kubo inside the TV while he was in police custody, and then made it out that he escaped
I'm a detective.
I think he was trying
Let him
to
through
keep
to
the
a
game
room
going
the
at that
station
point.
with the TV.
I
Switched
think
off the
he
lights.
was
Did
with the
it
Mitsuo
work?
Kubo
Still
putting him
sleeping.
inside the TV.
As
His
long as
thing,
he
I
didn't
think,
see me
was to
pushing in and
basically
no one else did either, no one would believe
throw people off
he could have
track.
survived. Of course, I don't
Because
think
obviously
he ever figured out
Mitsuo
what
didn't
happened.
have abilities. He didn't have the ability to
Police station.
go inside the TV,
Yeah. He turned
which is
himself
what a
in
lot of
pretty
people
quick,
thought
This was
at
back
the
when we
time.
didn't
But
even
this
know an
makes it a
official
lot.
search warrant.
This makes that make a
But
lot
the
more
other
sense.
officers
The fact that
decided it was just
Mitsuo
a
was thrown
fluke,
into the TV
so they pawned him off on me.
by Adachi.
I didn't blame them.
It
When
makes
the kid
100%
come
more
and said,
sense now.
I did it all.
Obviously.
It was me. Who'd believe him? But it looked bad. I didn't think anyone would come forward and take the blame for all the incidents. The police were desperate to pin it on anyone. If this kid really did it, they might have announced the case was closed. And if that
So yeah, the reason why you shut Mitsuo into the TV was because
That's why I told the others I
of
sent
the
him
simple
home.
reason
I came up with
he
the idea
wanted
put him inside the
to
TV on the spot.
keep his game,
The game
quote unquote,
will be over? You
going.
left Ruin in just so your fun wouldn't end?
You gotta have some
Yep.
excitement in life.
He is a
Don't you
complete and
agree?
utter
But then you
evil,
guys put your foot
vile,
in it yet
disgusting
again
character,
and ruined
which is
my
probably
fun.
why I love him as the
Thanks to
the
you,
villain
Kubo
so
was
much here.
arrested again.
It's just,
Acted
very
he was
rarely
the
do you
true
see
core
like a
behind
villain
it all.
who just is so gleeful
Couldn't they see how
in
badly he copied
causing
the crime scene?
pain,
Worked out
mayhem,
in
and
the end, though,
destruction
because good
in
old
this kind of
Namitame
more
kept
realistic
saving
kind of
people.
setting. I kind
I
of,
guess the
you know,
guy
that's what I
started to
love
develop
about
some kind of
Adachi
Messiah
here.
complex, huh? What an idiot.
This is all a game to you. How dare you murder people? Murder
Sorry,
sucky
my
survivors
throat's
for
going a bit
stupid
shit.
reason. You bastard! I'll never forgive you.
You can
And
keep
I'm
your
sure that
forgiveness.
Adachi
Our
doesn't
world will
care.
probably become just like this place soon enough anyways. Didn't
Yosuke,
you
he really
notice?
doesn't
The
give a
fog's
shit.
leaking out. Everything on that side's pretty much screwed.
And finally, here's
The
where he
two
comes
worlds
up
will
with his
merge soon,
ultimate
and
plan.
there'll be no difference,
Well,
no sides
is it
anymore.
plan? I don't think he aimed for this to happen. I think he's just like,
This isn't his real
this is
plan.
what's going to happen.
The real Adachi is somewhere else.
But this guy
This isn't
feels
really,
different
you know,
from an
I
ordinary
don't think he
shadow.
planned for this to happen. I think he
Doesn't seem
just,
like he's going berserk.
he worked out what is actually going on, and so he decided, yeah, fuck it,
This
let's
meeting's
let it
just
happen.
around to greet you guys.
Basically, his
Thank you
main
for
aim
wasting
here
your
is to
time by
basically just
chasing me in here.
destroy,
I'd say
to
this
basically
world is
let
taking a
the
real shine
shadow
lately.
world and the
I
human
feel like
world
it's
merge
giving me
together,
everything I've
and
ever
for
wanted. And the monsters
everyone
don't
to be
attack me.
converted into shadows,
Maybe they
which
can
is a
tell we
complete
have
and
the same
utterly
goal.
disgusting
The shadows
goal,
By the
I
end
guess.
of the year, Inaba will disappear completely into the fog. Soon,
This isn't
this will be
really his
reality.
plan. More,
I'll be in this world, so if
it's
you want
that's giving too
me,
much
come
away.
get
I'll
me.
shut up.
This world has a
But,
mind of its own.
yeah,
We'll
and it's
see which of
also
us it favors.
confirmed here that he's not actually here.
Keep your bullshit to yourself. It's
He's
about time
at
you
center
shut
of
the
his
hell up.
dungeon,
We'll finish
and this is
right
just
now.
a projection of him. Alright, Kanji. Fucking hell, dude. You're so dumb.
We'll put an end to this.
Get back here, you!
Damn it. He
That
got
stuff
away.
About the world's mind and how this place will become our reality.
So yeah,
Serious?
basically the next,
The rest
this
of
is
his
the
confessions were
biggest
consistent.
kind
We'd
of
best proceed under the assumption that it's
um,
no lie.
area actually.
It felt
It's one of the bigger areas,
he's gained some strong power
and it's
after
also
coming
more, and this is like
Not only
the ultimate
that,
goal.
maybe he
So
got
it's
taken
pretty
over
much,
by
instead of
that
it being a
power.
case of someone inside
So what he said about
the world
the
will
two
die,
worlds becoming one.
if we don't get to,
That's really gonna
if we don't
happen?
defeat this dungeon in
Didn't he say that would happen by
the
the end
right
of
amount
this
of
year?
time,
What happens
instead it's more
I
of,
think he means
he's
this
gonna get,
world will engulf the human world.
you know, it means
People in
instead
town
that
are
he's,
acting weird.
that the world
It's
is
like when
gonna
the
end if
shadows
we
that
don't put a
emerged
stop
from
to it.
people went
So,
berserk.
it's all up to
If
us
the fog
to
gets
save the
even thicker,
world.
and this town is completely shut off from the outside world, then the other side might become full of shadows, like over here.
You mean everyone's gonna
Oh
turn
my
into
god.
shadows?
It's,
Damn it! Damn that bastard! Why? We went
I
through
think the
so
acting from
much to get
Yosuke here is a
and now
bit too much, a bit too shouty, but I guess it shows. I guess it shows his real anger and emotion. I guess that's what it does at the very least, I suppose. And so yeah, this is the portal to the next world, to the next dungeon. This is the place that we need to go to in order to. So that's where we need to go in order to beat this dungeon. But I won't be going straight there because if you wait for a certain, if you beat it on a certain date, if you beat him by a certain date, then you actually get, if you're in a relationship, then you get a special kind of Christmas date with the girl that you are in a relationship with. So I figured I might as well show that off, so I actually wait a little while before going in to see Adachi again.
I understand that it must hurt, since you seem to have a personal relationship with him.
And I personally don't give a shit.
That's why. I feel a presence kind of like yours up ahead. He might be calling to you.
Yeah.
Never mind.
Well, anyway,
Forget I said that.
join me next time
We're
when
all
we'll be
together,
going
okay?
through the... when we'll actually be
Promise us.
going to talk to Adachi, actually. So join me for the next part of Persona 4 Golden. See you next time.